Allow myself to introduce myself.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I am the board observer with Political Storm, here to give you the weekly rundown. On Monday, President Trump slammed Putin and, quote, animal Assad amid new chemical strikes against Syrian citizens, killing hundreds of children. Syrian government denied the allegation, blaming Eastern rebels. Was it just a false flag? Regardless, this puts Trump in the awkward position of staying out of Syria like he had promised in so many tweets past. And not to mention Trump's many campaign promises about not getting the U.S. involved in any more wars. The next story was brought to us by the Objective podcast involving another police shooting. This time, an NYPD officer shot and killed unarmed Saheed Vassell, a mentally ill Brooklyn man who pretended he had a firearm in a shooting stance to police. In an article from the Daily News, the Saheed family called Thursday for total transparency in the details of his death on a Crown Heights street corner. Relatives of Saheed Vassell specifically asked for the public release of unedited video from the April 4th killing and the public identification of the officers who opened fire. The family wants the release of, quote, everything that took place that day, prior to when it happened, after it happened, so New Yorkers could understand what took place. On Tuesday, Trump's favorite branch of law enforcement, the FBI, seized files from Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen. Trump called this a disgraceful situation after several search warrants were directed for attorney-client privilege records. In a New York Times article, it stated that, quote, President Trump's advisors have concluded that a wide-ranging corruption investigation into his personal lawyer poses a greater and more imminent threat to the president than even the special counsel's investigation, according to several people close to President Trump. Comply, don't die. Our resident writer, Suzanne Monk, says police shootings are running rampant again, but she argues that if we teach our kids to comply and respect authorities regardless of skin color, there'll be no deaths. She states that a, quote, culture of disrespect towards authority have placed our men and women in law enforcement in a precarious place. Increasingly, citizens who encounter police are disrespecting officers and refusing to follow simple police instructions. We see it in cases as innocuous as traffic stops and as grave as cases of active shootings. On Wednesday, Trump and Syria are at it again. This time, Trump warns there will be a U.S. military response in Syria after the chemical attack last weekend. Again, he implicates Vladimir Putin in Syria's gas-killing animal Assad. I think this will put Trump at odds with many of his supporters who voted for him because he promised in his campaign that he would not involve the United States in any more wars. And many see this as yet another incursion into the Middle East. Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg is under investigation for the first time in the Senate amid privacy issues. But this issue doesn't stop with him. More billionaires fueled by money will continue to do bad things for profit. From Kate Harveston's opinion column, she states that merely by logging in, we grant the company an extraordinary amount of power over and insight into our lives. What's missed in the hysterical coverage of this scandal is the information harvested here was in fact freely given by people who can't read an entire terms of service sheet, because nobody has that kind of time, which is very much by design. On Thursday, Diamond and Silk made it into our coverage. Our publisher, John Saltzman, interviews one of our political contributors and staunch Trump supporters, Diamond and Silk. They discuss Trump and the recent, quote, unsafe to the community censorship they got from Facebook. Do you think they are unsafe to the Facebook community? A Facebook spokesperson told NPR that the message telling Diamond and Silk that they were unsafe should never have been sent, and that any issues that the duo had with their reach on Facebook has to do with policy shifts over the last 2 years that prioritize posts from friends and family on Facebook news feeds over other pages such as political ones. Facebook also has a policy since 2016 of discouraging clickbait headlines. Also on Thursday, contributor Philip Carino warned Republicans that Speaker Ryan's departure from Congress marks a dangerous moment for the party. Okay, for starters, the picture for this article wasn't loading, so I found one that works. Ugh. Speaker Paul Ryan is not running for re-election this November, to prioritize his family, which came as a shock to Republicans, whose majority is in peril come midterms. This didn't come to a surprise to me personally, because I can remember Ryan taking over the position of Speaker of the House from then Representative John Boehner, and it was very reluctant. Some speculate that the quote, blue wave is on the horizon and will make landfall come the 2020 midterm elections, and Paul Ryan might not want to be around for that. Facebook was in the news again on Thursday. Our senators had a hard time with tech-related questions in the Zuckerberg hearing. If you want to see the hilarity, go over to our Facebook page, Political Storm. We have shared CNET's funny video of politicians trying to comprehend the concepts of the internet and social media. Look, there's plenty of reasons to regulate Facebook. Even I, as a classical liberal, see the dangers of a company like Facebook running wild. That being said, some of the senators involved did not, in my opinion, instill a sense of confidence that they're up to the task. Me personally, I think the NSA should regulate Facebook. We'd essentially be creating Skynet at that point, and I'm ready for the robots to take over. And that about does it for this edition of the Weekly Roundup here at Political Storm. Until next time, this is the Board Observer.